Once upon a time, in a lively small town brimming with vibrant markets and the laughter of children at play, there lived a remarkable young girl named Grace. Her story began with her father, Eddie, who became a parent as a teenager. Despite the challenges, Eddie's love for Grace was boundless. Her mother, driven by the pursuit of her education, left them, entrusting Eddie with the responsibility of raising Grace alone. This is the tale of their unbreakable bond and the incredible journey they embarked on together. A determined and hardworking young man in his late 20s, Eddie stood by the crib of his sleeping daughter, Grace. At just 3 years old, she was the picture of innocence and sweetness. Eddie sighed, gently kissing her forehead, his heart swelling with love and resolve. Eddie had always been a bright student with dreams of a promising future, but those dreams took a back seat when Grace was born. Becoming a father at such a young age, Eddie made the selfless decision to drop out of school and dedicate his time to raising his daughter. He worked tirelessly, taking on multiple jobs to ensure she had everything she needed. Despite the hardships, Eddie's spirit never wavered. He faced each day with determination, driven by the love he had for Grace. Every night, as he watched her sleep, he was reminded of why he worked so hard. Eddie's dreams might have been deferred, but he found a new purpose in nurturing and protecting his little girl. This is a story of resilience, sacrifice, and an unbreakable bond between a father and his daughter. As we follow their journey, we'll witness the power of love and the lengths to which one man will go to provide a better life for his child. Stay tuned as their remarkable story unfolds. As the years passed, Grace grew from a baby into a lively and curious toddler. When she was finally old enough to stay with a babysitter, Eddie saw a glimmer of hope for his own aspirations. Determined to build a better future for them both, he decided it was time to return to school. Balancing his studies and parental responsibilities was no easy feat, but Eddie's determination never wavered. He threw himself into his coursework, quickly catching up on the years he'd missed. His passion for learning reignited, and his teachers took notice of his exceptional intellect and drive. One day, an opportunity arose that could change everything. The school announced a debate competition with a grand prize, a scholarship to study abroad. Eddie knew this was his chance to secure a brighter future for Grace and himself. He spent countless nights preparing, researching, and honing his debating skills, driven by the vision of a better life. The day of the debate arrived, and Eddie stood before a packed auditorium, nerves buzzing in his stomach. As the debate commenced, he spoke with conviction and eloquence, passionately arguing his points. His performance was nothing short of remarkable, captivating the judges and the audience alike. When the winners were announced, Eddie's heart raced. As his name was called, he felt an overwhelming surge of relief and triumph. He had done it, he had won the scholarship to study abroad. But as the excitement settled, another reality set in: who would look after Grace while he was away? Eddie spent sleepless nights pondering this question, his thoughts constantly returning to his kind-hearted neighbor, Mommy Kate. At 50 years old, she had always been a compassionate and caring figure in their community. One evening, Eddie decided to take a leap of faith. With a mix of hope and trepidation, he approached Mommy Kate's cozy home. Knocking on her door, he was greeted by her warm smile, which instantly put him at ease. "Good evening, Mommy Kate," Eddie began, his voice steady but emotional. "Good evening, my son," Mommy Kate replied.
"I have a favor to ask. I've won a scholarship to study abroad, but I can't go without knowing Grace will be in good hands. Would you be willing to look after her while I'm away? I'll check in regularly and send money for her upkeep."
Mama Kate listened intently, her kind eyes reflecting understanding and empathy. After a moment of thoughtful silence, she reached out and placed a reassuring hand on Eddie's shoulder. "Of course, Eddie," she said softly.
"Grace will be like my own granddaughter. You go and make us all proud. We'll be right here, waiting for your return."
With a heart full of gratitude and hope, Eddie embraced Mama Kate, feeling a wave of relief wash over him. He knew that with her support, he could finally pursue his dreams and create a better future for Grace. This newfound determination set Eddie on the path to the next chapter of their journey, ready to seize the opportunities that lay ahead. The day of Eddie's departure arrived, and with a heavy heart, he prepared to leave. Hugging Grace tightly, he whispered promises to return soon. Grace clung to him, her small arms wrapped around his neck, but she bravely let him go, trusting in his words. Eddie's journey abroad was filled with challenges and new experiences. He threw himself into his studies, determined to make every sacrifice worthwhile. True to his promise, Eddie regularly checked in with Mama Kate, calling frequently to hear Grace's voice and reassure her that he was always thinking of her. He diligently sent money, ensuring that Grace was well cared for and wanted for nothing. Back home, Mama Kate took Grace under her wing, providing her with the love and care that Eddie had hoped for. She became Grace's guiding light, helping with schoolwork, attending her school events, and nurturing her in every way possible. Despite the distance, Eddie and Grace's bond remained unbreakable. Eddie's letters and calls were a source of comfort and connection, reminding Grace that her father was working hard for their future. The days turned into months, and the months into years, but the promise of Eddie's return kept Grace's spirits high. Eddie's time abroad was transformative, shaping him into a well-educated and determined individual. Though the separation was tough, this period of growth and perseverance ultimately brought them closer together and paved the way for a brighter future. The years passed peacefully, with Mama Kate providing Grace with the care and affection she needed. But life took a sudden turn when Mama Kate fell gravely ill. The once lively and robust woman now lay frail and weak in her bed, her illness progressing rapidly. Concerned for her mother's well-being, Mama Kate's daughter, Lydia, who lived in the bustling city, rushed to her side. Lydia, a compassionate and capable woman in her early 30s, took charge of her mother's care with unwavering dedication. The modest home that had been filled with laughter and warmth now echoed with the quiet sounds of Lydia tending to her ailing mother. As days turned into weeks, it became clear that Mama Kate needed more comprehensive care than Lydia could provide in their small town. With a heavy heart, Lydia made the difficult decision to move her mother to the city, where she could receive the medical attention she desperately needed. In the morning of the move was bittersweet. Grace, now accustomed to Mama Kate's comforting presence, watched with a heavy heart as Lydia carefully packed up her mother's belongings. The home that had been a sanctuary was now filled with the quiet hum of preparation. "Grace, my dear," Mama Kate said weakly, reaching out to hold Grace's hand.
Lydia will take good care of me. You stay strong and remember everything I've taught you.
Grace nodded, tears welling in her eyes.
I'll miss you, Mama Kate.
With final hugs and tearful goodbyes, Lydia helped her mother into the car. As they drove away, Grace stood on the porch, waving until the car disappeared from sight. She felt a mix of gratitude for the time they had shared and anxiety for what lay ahead. Left alone in the now quiet house, Grace knew she had to find a new path forward. With Mama Kate gone, she was determined to continue the journey her father had set her on. The challenges were daunting, but Grace's heart was filled with the lessons of resilience and love she had learned from Mama Kate. Grace, now 12 and remarkably resourceful, stood in the center of the empty house, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear and determination. She carefully packed her few belongings into a small, worn bag, each item a token of her young life. The house, once filled with warmth and the comforting presence of Mama Kate, now felt cold and silent. Grace took a deep breath, her eyes scanning the familiar walls one last time. With Mama Kate gone, Grace knew she had to make a choice. Her father, Eddie, had always spoken fondly of her mother, Miriam. The stories he told painted a picture of a woman both elegant and scholarly. Clutching a small, worn-out photo of her mother, Grace made up her mind she would find her. Stepping out into the bustling town, Grace approached strangers with the photo, her voice steady as she asked for directions. Each conversation, each shake of the head, only fueled her resolve. The townspeople, moved by her determination, offered her bits of information, pointing her towards the city where her mother was last known to be. With a heart full of hope and a fierce determination, Grace walked to the bus station. The worn-out photo of her mother was now a symbol of her quest. She boarded an old, creaky bus headed for the city, her small frame looking almost lost among the other passengers. She found a seat by the window and sat down, clutching the photo tightly. As the bus rumbled to life and pulled away from the station, Grace gazed out the window. The familiar sights of her small town faded into the distance, replaced by the vast unknown of the journey ahead. Her mind raced with possibilities and uncertainties, but one thing remained clear: she would find her mother, no matter what it took. The city awaited, and with it, the hope of reuniting with the woman who had been a distant figure in her father's stories. The city, with its towering buildings and bustling streets, was vast and overwhelming, but Grace's determination never wavered. She navigated the busy sidewalks, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and anxiety. Her worn-out photo of her mother, Miriam, clutched tightly in her hand, was her guiding light. Grace entered a large library, its tall shelves filled with countless books and whispers of knowledge. She scanned the room, her eyes landing on a kind-looking librarian in her 50s. Taking a deep breath, Grace approached her, hope flickering in her eyes. Showing the photo to the librarian.
Excuse me, have you seen this woman?
Yes, I know her. That's Miriam. She works at the university nearby.
Grace was relieved. Thank you so much, Grace said to the librarian. Grace's heart raced with excitement as she made her way to the university. The campus was a maze of students and buildings, but she moved with purpose, her goal clear. She finally found herself outside a lecture hall. Peeking through the door, she saw Miriam at the front of the room, teaching a class. The sight of her mother, elegant and confident, took Grace's breath away. Miriam looked up from her lecture, her eyes scanning the room. When she saw Grace standing in the doorway, her eyes widened in shock and recognition. Miriam, stopping mid-sentence. Grace. Is it really you? Grace replied with tears in her eyes, Yes, Mom, it's me. Miriam's face softened, and she quickly moved towards Grace, wrapping her in a tight embrace. The lecture hall fell silent as students watched the emotional reunion. Miriam, whispering. I've missed you so much, Mom, Grace whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. I've missed you so much, Grace. I'm so sorry for everything. Grace and Miriam sat together, their hands clasped, ready to rebuild the mother-daughter bond they had both longed for. As they talked late into the night, tears flowed freely, a cascade of emotions spilling over as they began to bridge the gap of lost years. In that tender moment, they started to heal their hearts, knitting together the pieces of their shared past and hopeful future. I can't believe it. My Grace is here. As time passed, Grace grew into a determined young woman. At 18, she proudly graduated from high school, a milestone she wished she could have shared with her father. In the warm glow of Miriam's office, they embraced, their hearts beating in sync, the distance of years melting away. Reunited at last, Grace and her mother began to rebuild their relationship, determined to make up for lost time. They shared stories of their lives, laughter that echoed through the halls, and tears that cleansed their souls. Grace and Miriam talked late into the night, their voices soft but filled with the warmth of rediscovered love. They spoke of dreams and regrets, of moments missed and those yet to come. Grace, now a student at the university, walked hand in hand with her mother, Miriam, across the vibrant campus. Their smiles radiated pure joy, their bond visibly stronger than ever. Amidst the bustling activity of students hurrying to classes and friends chatting animatedly, Grace and Miriam stood out, embodying a powerful story of reunion and resilience. As they strolled together, heads turned to notice the unique warmth between them. It was clear that this was more than just a walk. It was a symbol of their incredible journey, of the hope that guided Grace to her mother and the love that brought them back together. Each step they took was a testament to their newfound unity, a beautiful reminder that, no matter how fragmented the past, the future holds the promise of healing and togetherness. Through patience, love, and forgiveness, they found their way back to each other, their bonds stronger than ever. Grace's journey was a testament to the power of hope and determination, a reminder that no matter the obstacles, we can always find our way back to where we truly belong. And so, Grace's story teaches us that even in the darkest times, the light of love and perseverance can guide us home. Much like the words in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 4-8a, love is patient, kind, and enduring, it never ends. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and always perseveres. Love's persistence and steadfastness are what carried Grace and her family through their trials. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us reach more people and fuels our passion to bring you more amazing content. Stay tuned for more inspiring stories.
I'll face the fear, I'll rise. Rise up, oh heart of mine. In your strength, I will shine. With every step, with every climb, I'll conquer fears one at a time. In the echo of my own refrain, a melody of hope sustains. Every stumble, every fall, I'll rise again, I'll stand tall. Through the storms that come my way, I'll find the courage to stay. Faith that's anchored deep inside.